What's up, Blizzard Nation? Welcome back to Strictly Blizzness, episode 211, presented by Edge VR Arcade, Creative Edge Productions, and our friends at Cousin Subs, where you can get a free cheese curd with the purchase of a 7.5-inch sub or subbable by using promo code
BlizzCurds.
BLIZZ.
CURDS.
I nailed it.
Ooh, we didn't even rehearse that.
Nope.
I managed to get a curd or two in my fries last week.
Did you use the promo code, or was it just in your fries? Like, fries sometimes end up in the curds because they're all deep fried.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, except there were a lot of curds in my regular fry. And I'm like, what? And they were like well done. So
so they were fried.
They were but they were good.
Right on.
It's not like I didn't eat them.
Speaking of good, we had a good game.
We did. It was fabulous.
Yes.
We won. So there's that. But more importantly, we had a great Star Wars infused event.
Yes.
Where do you want to go? Right from the beginning?
Sure.
We had lots of people in the hallways to take photo ops, and I saw the Mandalorian crew because there were like 6 of them dressed up, and they would walk around like a pack of people. Yep. And every time I came by them, I'm like, and I'm babysitting for that guy. So it was fun to see all of that and to see the fans involved. And, you know, my first time around, I went past the merch stand and I'm like, do y'all have your Republic credits? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, well, you could get money off for what you're trying to do standing in line. And one woman's like, I need those. And I'm like, well, you're only going to get $3 off. So it's not like you're going to win the lottery here. She's like, I'll still take the 3.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was cool. I think it was actually after coin toss, after the video had hit, I had taken a lot of messages and emails saying you guys did this right and the game hasn't even started yet. So it was cool. So did
they see our thing on the screen on the broadcast?
Not on the broadcast,
okay.
No. And the players have been asking how they can get access to it. I think we'd have to pull the audio in order to post that. We have fair game because our license covers us in the building, but to post that on social with the Star Wars music behind it would probably get taken down. So I'd have to look into that, but we may put that out for our players to have as a keepsake on a private channel or something. But like, I think we'd have to pull the audio in order to air what people saw in the building. Yeah.
But we're showing what was in the building. We just can't share what was in the building. It had to be for those live and in-house. So, who were you getting all those things from?
Just people in attendance, so Star Wars fans and people, a whole bunch of first-time game attendees, whether that was Aurora, Humana, or other groups who had nights. It was cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. And you being the Star Wars geek that you are definitely helped us with all of that. So thank you for all that attention to detail, you know, matters when you have something like that and a theme like that. You know, watching our Jumbotron have the letters just going up on an angle like you see in all the Star Wars films, which was a oops on Mr. Lucas himself for the very first one and then became
the thing.
Yeah. But it was really cool to see how that all integrated in, and the players out there with their lightsabers. It was really cool too.
Yep.
Yeah. We went through a lot of balls that night.
Yeah.
Into the stands and what have you. And at one point we were scrambling, but somebody somewhere 12 balls disappeared to somewhere. I think people think we don't count stuff.
Right.
But we do. We keep track. So whoever you are, I hope you're happy with yourself. Well attended.
Yeah.
The little costume people were fabulous.
Yes.
Both a woman and a child, female in nature.
Princess Leia and Rey, right?
Yep. Those were our 2 winners. I liked the guy in the R2-D2 suit.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
I had somebody ask me, how come you weren't in the contest? And I'm like, is it really? You can't tell this is me. I mean, the players Liam had no idea it was me. I had Network Health back there and we're walking around and I'm like, and this is our quarterback. And he walked into Frain's room. And I'm like, apparently he's avoiding me. And I knew he could hear me.
Yeah.
And then he came out and I said, could you take a picture with these folks? And he's like, sure. Like ignoring me 100%. And then it didn't dawn on him until after the coin toss that it was me. And he just said, Kathy, I had no idea that was you. I just thought it was some kind of super fan that was in the room. So it was funny. But fun had by all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a great event. So, yeah.
It was a great event. We're not gonna unpack it, but let's talk a little bit about the next one coming up.
Sure.
So a couple of weeks out, not till the end of May. But what is our next one? What does it entail?
Dairy night. So Dairy night's back. So dairy footballs, dairy jerseys, what we've deemed Dairyland will be out front, weather permitting, with live animals again from our friends at Milk Source. We have a cheesy bucket hat giveaway to the first 1,000 fans, and the most asked for jersey to be sold off, the dairy jerseys. And it was funny because we changed the cover photo and we had a fan saying, and the dairy jerseys are being auctioned off. I'm like, I guess people really wanted that jersey. So, yep.
They're going to start at 200 though.
Dairy jerseys galore.
Yeah.
There might actually be more of those because it was the original list, not the modified list for sublimated jerseys this year. So, yeah. No, yeah. I think thanks to that important of that industry in Wisconsin, it should be a whole bunch of 4-H FFA clubs and our friends at Ron's Cheese, which is actually Pagels Ponderosa, and Milk Source and the Move Milk folks are all involved in that game. So, yep. Yeah,
it was interesting because I had lunch with two of our players and we were talking about uniforms, and they were saying that they really like the Adidas uniforms, and I'm like, you do? They like the elastic, and I'm like, well, the elastic doesn't work on all players, only you skinny ones. The twill of it, because it's hard to grab.
Yeah.
Where the sublimated ones, they can get a hold of it and then they can pull it.
Got it.
So those are more stretchy. So they might be easier to get on the sublimated ones, but in the game they like the regular ones.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
The only question we had for last episode is if we'll ever auction the Adidas ones off. I think that question was. I have no idea.
Yeah, and we will, as we have different. It's basically an enzyme detergent that we have specialty for those jerseys to make sure they don't turn dingy yellow. So we have that now, and it's getting out some of the stains that we were afraid wouldn't come out. But I would say we have at least next season on those. So they may get auctioned off next season, or we play all next season and they get auctioned off in 28. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with those. Yeah. And we really, because we've had so many sublimated ones, we really haven't worn them all that often either.
Yep.
So, but yeah, point taken.
Yeah, actually aren't taking a beating besides on the road.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
Yeah.
So,
the white ones.
Yep.
Yeah. But, and then we have them wear the white ones when we have a snow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, we have some exciting stuff to share.
Yes.
We talked to somebody who I think, when we talk about the IFL, if you don't recognize his name, then you haven't been doing your homework. He's been part of the IFL since the inception of the IFL. And we have this special, we'll call it special report for you.
What's up, Blizzard Nation? Welcome to another special update with a special guest. We've gotten to do a couple of these on Strictly Blizzness lately. So a very good friend who I've gotten to know over my 12 years in indoor football and Blizzard football. Kathy, I'll let you introduce him and we'll have some fun.
Well, most of you, when you just look at him, you know he doesn't need any kind of introduction. We have with us, I'm calling him now instead of coach, broadcaster. I don't think he likes that much, but we have Mr. Kurtiss Riggs with us.
It's about the same clapping I would get at a game in Green Bay too, right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you're lucky we're not doing what would normally happen. So, So Kurtiss, tell us about yourself. So you've alluded to a couple of things. Being in Green Bay, when you have been in Green Bay, it was as a coach, and then recently as a broadcaster as well. But tell us your involvement over the years with the IFL, because some of our listeners, watchers, viewers, we only have 8, might not know who you are.
Well, I was anti indoor football. I had gotten back from playing football in Europe, and I was ready to move on. I just physically was beat up, and it was my roommate Kalen DeBoer that was playing for the Cobras at that time in Sioux Falls, and he's like, "Hey, you got to do this. It's a blast. It's fun." So I went out. I played. It was fun. I did it for a year. And then I just was like, I got to move on here. I gotta start making big boy decisions, and family and everything was coming into play. So I got sucked into coaching though, and I enjoyed it. And then just purely by chance, the head coach, Mike Aldridge, he got a job at University of Louisville, and the season was about to start. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to tell them they should hire you as the head coach, and they really won't have any other choice. They'll have to do it. So do you want it?" And I thought, well, yeah, sure, okay. And then where I felt like I kind of got the inner workings of indoor football was I sat with Colin Steen, our GM at that time, and he's like, well, how much do you think is fair for your pay? And I said the number, and he goes, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll sign you right now. And I thought, Jesus, what have I done? That was a valuable lesson I learned right away. And then it just it was great. I never entertained the idea of leaving Sioux Falls just because I coached college football and Kalen, and he was moving his family all over the place. I didn't want to do that. I saw indoor teams, pop up and then disappear in a day or two, and I didn't want to chase that. So I thought I would just continue to coach in Sioux Falls as long as this lasts, and we had a pretty good run.
You did. How many championships you have under that belt of coaching?
We won 11 with the Storm, and then we won 4 at USF in college. But yeah, it was good. We played in a lot of championship games. It seems like you remember the ones you lost more than the ones you win. But and you guys hopefully can get over that too, where you're getting that one out of your head. But those ones kind of stick a little bit more, it seems.
Absolutely. So tell us, now that you've taken on kind of a new role, you're seeing a different side of the IFL than you have in the past, and walk us through how that kind of came into play. And I'm speaking not just about broadcasting, but the analysis piece, because you've been doing that before we started all of this Yahoo stuff. So
yeah. So one of there was 2 legendary radio TV guys in Sioux Falls that would do the high school state championship games, and one was getting towards the end of his career, and he just came to me. He's like, "Hey, I think you should with my football academy. I know all the kids in the state." And so he was like, "You would be a great resource. Why don't you be the color guy and do the high school state championship games?" So I thought, well, why not? Yeah, I'll do it. It'd be good for the academy. And I did, and it went really well. And then the TV company in Sioux Falls, Midco, asked me if I'd be interested in start doing college games and local high school games. And it just kind of spread quickly. And after I did that, then Todd had asked, would you be interested in doing one of the championship games? Now, I didn't realize I was going to have to do it with Kevin Guy and the Arizona broadcast team, but I did that. It was fun. It was good, and that's kind of what got my feet wet in the whole thing. When I first started, though, like I wouldn't even prep. I would just go in, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, these clowns are paying me to talk football. I was like, holy crap. I mean, no wonder Tony Romo loves this job, but it's good. It's a lot of fun.
So it's funny you mentioned that game with Kevin Guy, because we had no idea who was going to be doing the broadcast. And all of a sudden, I'm like, seriously, Todd, we couldn't find someone other than Riggs and Guy to call this game.
Yeah, yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah.
So now it's a little bit different because now this is more of a polished broadcast. These broadcasts have a little more depth to them, I will say. You have typically, and because I know it's going to change coming up with the IFL Cup, but typically it's two people in a booth and then one person on the sideline. And you have to have that rapport with, the person sitting next to you if you're up in the booth, as well as the person that's on the sidelines. So tell us a little bit about that, because I believe you've just been in the booth, right? You haven't done any sideline.
Yeah, correct? No sideline, just the booth. It's been good. I've been lucky to work with some great people. I mean, Brent Stover is awesome. I mean, he's a seasoned pro. He gets it. He had familiarity with indoor football too, which was helpful. Some of the others, Fitz really didn't, but he's a football guy, and it was quick for him. Then I worked with Alex Cohen, who does play-by-play for the Cubs, and he really, really didn't have a lot. But where he was good was he would just lead me up and then let me talk football and then feed off that. And that's where you knew you had someone that was experienced. It's been that you're right, though. It's a much more polished product. I'll say, the guys they're bringing in are very good. Very good. And I worked with Brent last night, and every time I work with him, I'm like, man, this guy's going to really take off. And then I found out he just got signed to a 5-year deal with CBS, an extension, and probably well-deserved.
Yeah, fantastic. When you talk about notoriety, some of the guys that are in the booth, they played in the NFL. We have one in our booth, Will Blackman, that's doing our analysis when he can be in town. And I do think that adds a different dimension and legitimizes what we're trying to do with the IFL, because I think a lot of times we're considered a lesser league, less professional. Sometimes the things we do makes it less professional, but to be honest, in order for the NFL, the CFL, the UFL to take us seriously, these broadcasts are helping because it's showing that additional dimension to our game, and that it is similar. It's still very different because it's outdoor, it's indoor. Yeah, but it is similar.
Without a doubt. We had Eric Coleman on with us last night, and he was great. I mean, just one to see, hey, I mean, he's just a great person and a human that loves, he was so entertained with indoor football. And he was very willing to admit, I found in the past, some of the people would not admit they didn't understand or grasp some of indoor football. Whereas Eric was, he would be the first to ask me and, trying to absorb and pick it up. And then what I've also learned is a lot of these guys, they want to work. I mean, they want to do games, and they find the indoor game very appealing because it's so exciting. And I think we've done a good job, the league, you owners, of putting good products out there. And just about all the games are so competitive too.
Yeah, especially now. I mean, there were years where, the Sioux Falls Storm kind of ran away with everything. And I remember that first win we got in Green Bay when you were in our building. Maybe that one stings a little bit for you, but
it was a kick. It was a kick at the end of the game. Yeah.
It was awesome. See, you do remember.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
my players were, Corey was running around the field like he won the Super Bowl, and they're like, "Hey, what? I mean, this is a regular season game. What's that guy's deal?" And
no.
Yeah, and I was like, "Well, that's the first time we've lost here, you losers." Now you're all getting cut. No.
Yeah. So let's talk about, because we have something new and innovative coming up for the league, and it's going to be a different venue. It's going to be a different way of putting things together. That's hopefully an annual thing for us. And I'm talking about the IFL Cup. Now, when we announced the season, we had some TBDs in the schedule. And then right before the season started, we announced the IFL Cup. And I just want to, give people kind of an understanding, not kind of, but give them an understanding of what the IFL Cup is. It's a separate cup. It's not a championship. We're hoping that it's going to be something that, year after year, transferred to a new team. But there were teams that gave up home games to play here as though it's their home field. And explain to us how that's going to work that week.
Yeah, so Monday, Arizona will play New Mexico and Orlando will play Vegas. And then the winners of those two games will match up, and the losers also will match up and play on Sunday. So they'll be out there for a week. But, the hard part is, because ideally you would love to take the top 4 teams in the regular season. But you got to try to figure it out before. There's so many logistics. And like you said, be willing to give up a home game, which is difficult. That's asking a lot, and especially for an unknown thing here. But I think it's exciting, and I think the appeal of the clown show that happened last week, I think, adds to the whole element of what's going to happen. I know I'm going to try to do all I can to provoke it and get those two, Ren and Stimpy, to get those two clowns to even go a little further.
Well, but they're not playing each other. They may not even play each other. That's kind of the hidden gem of it all. So let's say Arizona loses or Vegas loses. Well, if they both lose, then they'd be in that losers bracket. But so really, not only did they give up a home game, but they probably all gave up a bye, right? Yeah. I mean, because that second set of games doesn't really count towards their record.
Right. For the year. Yeah. I think the Arizona New Mexico game the first game does count, but yeah, you're right. That second one, I don't believe it does.
They get bragging rights.
Yeah, I would be interested, though, as the season plays out, if that somehow comes into play, it could help or hinder someone. If I'm sure some people with strong personalities will try to argue that it should be added in there, but
especially if they need it for a tiebreaker, no doubt.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking, and but that'll be for Todd to decide on.
Yes, exactly. So give us the rundown of that week, because you're right. They're there the whole week. There's a lot of different things that are happening. And I've been told that you're going to have 3 people in the broadcast booth. Did you know that?
I didn't. I know it's been talked about. I knew in the championship game we're doing a 3-man crew, and Jared's fantastic about they wanted to practice that, and so last night for Jacksonville we did a 3-man crew with Eric Coleman, Brent Stover, and I, and it was great. It was really good. So I know Cedric Bonner, Brent Stover, and I are gonna work together. He's fantastic, and he really brings a lot of that arena football. He's done a good job of making the transition from arena football to indoor football, though, which I appreciate, because they are different games. And I think it works well. I think you get, it's not like when Kevin and I did the championship game, where it's like me holding my breath on what Kevin's going to say, and then how do I respond to that and be appropriate. And this one will be all driven based on football and what's going on.
Yeah, and I think that's what, when we heard you and Kevin, both former coaches, both having played in a championship, one being a little more bitter that he wasn't in said championship. So I get it. It was a different way of looking at the game than what we're talking about now. You're more removed from it. You still obviously have those ties to Sioux Falls. You mentioned Bonner before, and Bonner, he's pretty well known in Sioux Falls. I mean, he's got quite the backing over the years.
In Sioux Falls, Bonner?
Yeah, no, not Sioux Falls.
In Arizona, he does.
In Arizona, the Rattlers. Yes, he's the Rattlers. So when he walks around the arena, it's like that's royalty walking through there.
Yeah, and I was quick to, with my son coaching there, I was like, hey, you need to meet guys like this right here, and go out and introduce yourself. And I think Peyton's done a nice job of that, as he's been down there for a while, getting acclimated and trying to meet some of these people. Because Bonner also does Pac-12 games and does a lot of broadcasting outside of indoor football.
Yeah, and you brought it up. I wasn't going to bring it up, but you brought it up. So you have a next generation down there with what would have been your nemesis back in the day, working for the Rattlers. And, was that something that Peyton came to you and said, Dad, I think I want to be a coach? And you said, yeah, great idea.
Well, he went to college to play basketball, and then he just was like, I want to coach, and he actually went coach basketball, and then he's like, it's not as exciting, one good player and it can decide everything. I like to be involved in schemes, and so he hung around the Storm always. So he's very familiar, but he went out and coached at University of Washington first. Kalen DeBoer hired him to come out there, and he was in the recruiting department. And he was paying $2,800 a month for a studio apartment that was as big as maybe my refrigerator. And he just the stressors of having no social life, trying to squeeze 26 hours in a 24-hour day. Was tough. And so he called and he's like, I don't know. I don't know if this is what I want to do. And I was like, well, then don't do it. If you're not having fun, now's the time to figure this out. And Kalen's not going to be offended. So he finished out the year. They won the Alamo Bowl. And then he came back and he's like, what do you think about me coaching the Storm? Now, I will say he came back and I then decided to coach longer. I wanted to be done in 2019. Todd, we won the title against Arizona, and Todd had to sell the team. And I was like, yeah, this is a good time for me to be done too. The new owner said, if we're going to buy the team, that you got to stay on for a little bit, which I thought was fair. And then COVID hit, and that was tough for all of us. But so Peyton comes back, and he's calling plays for us. And then Kalen takes the job from Washington to Alabama, and he's like, you think Kalen will let me go to Alabama with it? And I'm like, well, I think you burned that bridge now. That's done. Yeah, but Kevin and I had a great respect for each other always. Competitive. We knew each other, and we knew the time and who we were, the personalities that we are. And as much as we would compete when we got off the field, there was a profound respect there for each other. And as I was getting done, and Peyton knew he needed to venture outside of the Storm. He needed to go experience others. There was a few teams that talked to him, and he went and interviewed with Kevin, and they offered him a job. And it's the thing he said right away, it's vastly different. Like, one, the resources, however you want to take that, is way different than anywhere else in the indoor football league. I mean, their facilities, their structure. He would come back to me and he's like, Jesus, like, we practice every day, and the guy's got a cafeteria and a weight room, and we have offices, and he just can't believe, what they had compared to what we had in Sioux Falls, and probably what you guys do in Green Bay too. And so he was very appreciative, but then also the structure of how Kevin runs his organization. It is from top down. He has full control, and Peyton had to buy in right away, and he learned that. It was very good for him to have to learn that from someone else, and it's been very good. Kevin's letting him call plays now, and just quickly. Yeah, I called Kevin. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Are you setting him up here for, And he's like, no, I need a better connection. And I got so many things going on. And he does. He has a lot going on in the business community. He goes, and I trust Peyton. I go, when was the last time you let someone else do this? And he goes, well, 18 years ago, I let a guy named Danny White call the plays. And I'm like, and he goes, yeah, he was terrible too. And I'm like, oh my gosh. and so I thought, well, all right.
And Peyton, no one ever heard from Danny again.
Yes, that was it. That was the end of him. So I said, Peyton, hey, this could be do or die for you. And he was excited. He couldn't wait.
Well, that says something, because you're right. Kevin has a very methodical way of thinking. So for him to trust somebody to be on the field, especially because Kevin's team has always been on the offense, the offense has always been the stellar part of what Kevin produces each year. So to have him trust that side of the ball to somebody was, that's a big step for Kevin. Big step.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it said a lot for him, the growth, and his son's at Fort Hays State. He's very active, following him. And I think he now has a staff he's more trusting in too. I know he talked about that also.
Yeah.
I didn't get to say much so far, so I wanted to chime in while we're on Peyton. I don't know if Peyton told you this, Riggs, but I had a real cool interaction with him when Arizona was in our building for Faith and Family Night last year. I had caught up with Peyton, Guy, and a bunch of folks before the game the night before. And it was the first chance I really had to talk to your son in all the years I've gotten to interact with you. And he said, "Hey, I really love that you do these Faith and Family games. I actually like 10th Avenue North as a band." So it's my first chance to interact with him. So I went to 10th Avenue North before the game, had them sign a ball, and gave that to Peyton. The artist signed a ball for him. So it was just in all the years I've known you and things I've learned from you and Todd over the years, it was a neat chance to kind of say thank you through your son there. So it was a real cool interaction with Peyton before the game. So
yeah, he actually did tell me about that. He originally was going into major in youth ministry,
yeah.
and I was like, Peyton, that's awesome, and it's great, but man, you're going to be so poor. Um, and and uh, and then he went into indoor football coaching. I'm like, well, you morally went the opposite way, and financially you stayed in the same path. So, gosh, what did I do to you? Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Coach, we appreciate you being on this call today and in this special report. Do you have anything else you want to tell the league or our followers? And just so you know, Green Bay now has a facility, a workout facility in there, offices, all of that good stuff. So we have our own training facility now. I'm not going to say we're Arizona, but we'll be the Arizona of the East since most of our former team is out there now anyway. So.
Yeah. I will say, I always said, if I was in Sioux Falls, Green Bay's the place. I'm like, one, and I think Corey does a good job, but I always said it's inexcusable Green Bay doesn't have a title. It's title town. And I'm like, put a guy up in the stands at practice with a Packer hat on and a clipboard, and word will spread that the scouts are there. And because I just am like, this place has got it all. It's got the community. You guys do a fantastic job with your community events, and we tried to replicate that in Sioux Falls when we made the transition from the old arena, which was a NASCAR style crowd, to the new arena, which was a family driven crowd. It was very difficult for us, and we tried to follow what you guys were doing because you guys do an outstanding job. And I think other teams, as I was in Jacksonville last night, I was quick to say, well, are you looking at the model of what Green Bay has, what they do? Because they were talking about having to play on Mother's Day. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, use this theme here. And so I think you guys just keep going, doing an outstanding job. I can't believe Ryan said 12 years. That's a long time. Just flies by.
Yeah, it's been that long. It's been that long. And, for us, it has to be about community for a lot of different reasons. But we do have Packer scouts that are in the stands. The Packers actually have season tickets. So we've had Packer players that have come to watch the game and they're like, Kathy, there's no way I would play this game. It is way too fast. It is so much faster than the NFL. So,
Eric Coleman did say last night, though, that he would have loved to play just because he was a big hitter. But he goes, man, there's a lot of NFL players that could not play this game, though, because of the style. Yeah.
Too quick. It's just too quick for them. There's no breathing room in between. So, all right. Well, Ryan, what else you got?
Riggs, I was just going to say you do an incredible job. I responsible and privileged enough to do so much of the community stuff here that it keeps me pretty busy that we joke that I don't get to watch much football. But when I tune into a Yahoo game, the value you bring to this thing, and this is not the stroke Riggs ego play, I am floored what you were able to teach these guys that don't know indoor football. And actually, I think I caught a couple minutes of the game where Fishers was beaten up on Arizona. And I could hear it in your voice where I'm like, man, just do this. Just do this. How are they not making this adjustment? This line, like, what you bring to the analysis side, kudos. And I think it is incredible as we try and move this league forward. It's really cool because I don't get to watch a lot of home games because of the theatrics we put on here. it's neat to hear you talk about the game like that. So truly, I've always respected you, and keep that up. I think it helps move the league forward.
Well, I appreciate that. It was the first week I had Dixie Wooten, and it was against you guys. And I called him out. I was like, these guys are terrible, and Dixie's doing an awful job. And people thought I hated Dixie. Dixie took it well. He knew he had thick skin. And then the next week, I was doing the same to Arizona. And I think the one thing I'm going to call it like I see it. And hopefully they learn from it. And I'm not always right. I know that. But I just think the fans deserve to know what's happening and why it continues to happen sometimes. So I appreciate that. Hopefully it goes okay.
Well, I think it teaches our fans that are just tuning in to the IFL a different perspective than being an armchair quarterback, right? There's so many things that are developing on the field that they're not even aware of. And if they don't know our rule set, and if they don't know clock management, you're giving a different perspective to that. So I think it's fantastic that you're there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And I wish you guys the best of luck the rest of the season here.
Thank you.
It's exciting. It'll be a good run here.
Yeah.
We're really hoping that we don't get to a championship and lose by that much. That's the goal for this year. So it's too soon to talk about it.
It is. Yeah.
And we're back.
Well, a real cool segment, and awesome of him to take time as he was traveling, I believe.
Yes, he was at
commentating
Jacksonville
on a game, right?
Yeah, he was at Jacksonville yesterday, so he was leaving today. We caught him prior to checking out this morning. So always fun to hear, his perspective on things. I mean, over the years, I've gotten to see him at like the championship game or league meetings and talk to him and get to know him a little bit better than just on the field, because he's right. When you're on the field, you're in this mentality. You have to have a respect for other coaches, and I think sometimes coaches miss that. Obviously there's an arrogance to coaching. I mean, don't get me wrong. You have to have that in order to be in that space, if you will. And when they're playing the game, that's 100% on. We had people asking us to comment on the shenanigans that happened, 2 weekends ago, and that's their business. I don't know that, the league has a responsibility to share all the ins and outs. I get that the broadcasters can egg on and that creates views and all of that, but, the behaviors that we want to promote are professionalism, and, that's what this league is supposed to be about. That's what we're trying to offer up. If you're looking for that type of mentality, go watch hockey. There's my plug for hockey. Anyway, or WWE.
Where fighting is allowed.
Yes, and encouraged. Yep. Yeah. But you also have a penalty box for it, and that's why. Anyway. What else do you have for today? Because I think that's a pretty beefy episode.
Working on the away game. For those of you from Wisconsin, you may watch that one from home, but we're working on it. There is a country artist that is taking over Lambeau and the surrounding area this weekend, which definitely affects our ability to host at any of our sports bars. We may have a solution, but keep an eye on social media. We're just waiting for a call back to see if we can still host a view party. So, can
we announce on here, just so we talk about it several times, who's doing our coin flip?
Oh, sure.
For Dairy night, because we announced it at the game.
Yeah, so pregame stuff he'll be doing, so I don't have to bring in his mega entity that supports him. So Farmer Coop, Packer linebacker Edgerrin Cooper will be joining us for Dairy night, as that industry and ag is very important to him. And a huge shout out to Pagels Ponderosa for making that introduction. They have done some work with them before. So he will be joining us on the field, not pregame at Dairyland, but on the field and helping hype the crowd as we kick off Dairy night and lead into Dairy month.
Yeah, so you'll get pictures of him, but not necessarily signatures or anything of that nature. It's more he's there to represent the dairy industry more so than anything.
Yep.
So really excited to have him.
Yeah.
There's so many things like, you call him Coop. So he flew the coop. He's coming into the coop, all those things. But we're talking dairy, not chickens.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. Next time we're here, we'll talk a little bit more about Dairy Night. The next time we're here, we'll be going into a bye week.
With the IFL Cup.
And the IFL Cup.
Yep.
So we will probably have another special report with that one. And yeah, I think that's about all I have.
Yes, the other guest segment got a lot of our time on here, which is awesome. So, because it's fun to talk to him. So
It is. It's fun to talk to any of those guys that have a unique perspective. If there's somebody you want to hear from, let us know and we'll interview them. By all means, give us what your questions might be and who you'd like us to talk to. Because at this point, we have a lot of different individuals who are part of the game, both from a broadcast perspective as well as behind the scenes. So who do you want to hear from? We'll let you know. And no, we're not going to have Kevin Guy on and we're not going to have Mike Davis on. So nice try. Yeah.
So we got.
That's what we got.
Should we hit him with it?
Let's hit him with it.
Go Blizz. Don't forget to like, follow,
subscribe,
share,
and ring that notification bell to get all of our content in your inbox.